Hey everyone, I finally got a chance to hit the new HUDEF Viva Pro. It's a thermoform paddle and it's pretty awesome. Stay tuned. Let's just go over the specs on this one because this one has a few different things in it. And when I get to the price at the end, you're gonna be like, whoa. So let's just talk about why I think this paddle is gonna do really well in the market. So one, it's a thermoform unibody just like everybody else. T700 carbon fiber face. I'm not going to keep going into that. We're going into it ad nauseum. So same kind of material as most of the other people. They've done a couple things different on their model, and you can tell when you play this model. First off, they are doing thermoformed foam injection all the way around. So a lot of other paddles, they're only doing the foam injection up here all the way through the top, or partial places all throughout here, or different types of patterns throughout here, but mostly it's up in the paddle face. This one here is all the way through the handle, okay? So it's all the way through here. Also, this is a molded handle one piece. So it's a one piece molded handle that's then put in here and attached to the paddle. The paddle face, just like all the other ones, the face goes all the way down on both sides. And that, with the carbon wrapping and the foam injection, make this an extremely soft feeling thermoform paddle. The thing I liked about this paddle when I feel it is it's got a good swing weight to it. So you can feel this paddle's got some pop to it. I'd probably put it in the 120, 122 range based on the other paddles that I have that are like this or a similar feel. You can tell when hitting this paddle that it is an extremely stable paddle. All the way through, anywhere out here on the edge, you can feel where it's hitting. It's not unpleasant, and you feel it enough that you can make corrections. And just like all paddles, anywhere around the edge on this, you're gonna have less performance. But what we talk about when we talk about sweet spot is, where does the performance degrade? Like where, when I hit on this paddle, where when I hit that I just can't do anything with the ball, it doesn't move, it's dead. And that's how we judge sweet spot or forgiveness in pickleball. Very similar to blade golf clubs, right? So there's beginner golf clubs that help you fix a slice, a hook, help you hit the ball straight, right? And then there's the blades. The blades are made for the upper level players. And so what paddle companies are trying to do is make a very forgiving paddle that plays with the performance of a blade golf club. When you hit the sweet spot, it's amazing. When you hit outside the sweet spot, it's forgiving. So that's what they're trying to do with getting these edges. I would say that this paddle company has done a great job with this. This paddle all the way around feels stable. So when I'm holding this paddle and the ball hits anywhere, this paddle's not torquing so easy in my hand, especially if you put a little lead tape on it. These range from 7.8 to 8.3, so that's a 0.5 range in these, and it's probably to do with some of the materials or the way the foam works and in different spots that you can't really account for. But if you like to play your paddle at 8.5 and higher, adding weight to this guy is gonna make it scream. It's going to be a really good. I'm waiting for some of these guys to do some of the speed tests on this paddle and the spin tests on it. I think it's going to be a top tier on the spin. You can see the microscopic view of the carbon fiber right here. It's got the normal weave that we see on a lot of these paddles. And remember, I reviewed their previous version of this, the Pro, not the Gen 2, and it's a great paddle. So this is an improvement on that guy, and it feels great. If we look at the handle, they have a 4 1/8 inch handle, but it says grip length is 5.5. And I'm gonna show you this because I'm just gonna compare this to a 5-inch handle with Adidas here. And if you look at that, you can see that it is pretty healthily up there. And then on top of that, it says 5.5, but then on top of that, you can still have room here at the neck. So this is one of the most comfortable two-handed backhand paddles I've touched. Now, I don't hit a two-handed, I only do it for practice. I really am a single-handed backhand guy, but I test all of the paddles with a two-handed backhand to see how comfortable they feel for me. And the ones that I'm really comfortable with are the ones that have enough space. You can see I can get both hands on here comfortably. Like I'm not even grabbing all the way down here on the end. Like I've got the butt cap a little bit out in my hands. I'm still able to put a very comfortable two-y on here. Now, same as the Pro model, man, this paddle can play. In the kitchen, super comfortable with any kind of spin you want to do on here. This paddle spins really well. And I don't know if it's a top tier spin. I would put it probably in the 1800 range, 1800 to 2000 range. So top 10 in spin range. When we start looking at the ranges of these paddles, we'll do a video here soon of the different ranges that everybody has come up with. And I appreciate these guys like Chris Olson at the Pickleball Studio. Shout out to you and John Q, the guys that are actually measuring these stats, that take the time to count the frames. Thank you for counting the frames, guys. Really helps us out with the information to be able to give people information. 16 millimeter paddle, polypropylene core, just like all the other paddles. In the kitchen, great. Resets from no man land. I felt very much in control with this paddle. You're able to maneuver it really well. I didn't feel any strain with the weight. I weighed this, it's coming in around 8.2. I would put the swing weight, like I said, in the 120s. In no man's land, things like that, that really helps with stability, because you're able to, the pop versus the power, right? We've talked about power versus pop. Power is the drives, and when you're driving through the ball, the power that you're generating. Pop is the way that the paddle responds to people hitting you, right? Like hitting it at you, your counter punch, your quick short volleys, your short strokes. That's where pop would come from. I would say this paddle has plenty of pop and control. I felt like at the no man's land, I could choose. Do I want to pop this back at them in a very short stroke and get it on them really quick and put them on defense? Or do I want to just touch it back into the kitchen, drop it in the kitchen nicely, and get back up there and battle it out at the kitchen? Lots of choices there. Felt very comfortable in those shots all the way around. Third shot drops, phenomenal paddle. This is one of the paddles that's going to stay in my bag. I'm going to play this one regularly. It's one of the top 10 that I would put in my bag just because I like the way it feels. Because of the construction of it, they're claiming it's going to last a little bit longer. We're going to see about that, see how long this guy lasts, and I'll keep you guys posted. I'll do a follow-up review. And then drives. Man, this thing's got some zip. It took me a few shots to get used to the pop on it, hit a few balls out of bounds, because it has more pop than the other carbons I was playing. I believe I was playing the Dink Hyper Pro at the time, and then I switched to this guy, and this guy had tons more pop than that, and I'll be reviewing that paddle later. From drives, man, it really felt good. Now, with the elongated paddle, obviously, there's always gonna be control issues with these longer paddles. You're gonna miss shots that a shorter version, like if it had a control model, that you might not miss, but you're sacrificing power for control. So there's always that balance. You gotta try to find a paddle that you can control with giving you enough offense or pop ability or power to get through the ball and make the shots that you wanna make. Other than that, I like the feel of the handle. The bevels are pretty well pronounced. I would say this is very even balanced paddle. I wouldn't call it extra wide or extra thick. Very balanced, feels very natural in your hand. You're able to feel the bevels and get around on it. And the grip that comes on it, I always play with an over grip. The grip that comes on it, it's 4 1/8. So it's a very small grip. So those that have bigger hands, you're gonna have to put a bunch of overwraps on this to make it feel comfortable for you. But what I like about this is that it's also very comfortable for the ladies. Right, smaller circumference here, and the natural grip on this does really well. It absorbs the sweat really well, and it feels good in your hand even when you're all sweaty. What I like about this paddle is only $129. What I like even more about this paddle is that I can give you 15% off. So if you use my code, you get 15% off, which, by the way, any of you that use my code, thank you so much. That helps us keep the lights on, helps us review these paddles and give you the information you need to buy them. And what I like is that this paddle is, about $100 paddle after our 15% discount. So well worth the money for the value that I felt out of this paddle, because it just bumped out some other paddles out of my bag. And so I think it's definitely best bang for the buck right now that I see in pickleball with this type of paddle so far. Thank you, HUDEF, for sending us this paddle. Appreciate you sending us the merchandise so we could review it for you. That allows us to give our honest opinion about it. Honest opinion on this paddle is, I think you should try it. You gotta feel it, you gotta see what you think. And I think for the dollar amount, this is the best value in pickleball. But you know what? Other people, like, you have brands that you like, hey, check them out here. I'm all about brands. I play my Selkirk in every tournament. Yeah, it's okay. Other brands are right here. You can go look at them.